Blog Talk Radio.
Forsake him. Trying to reach his ultimate with no ultimatum. Proverbials conveying my verbatim proof operations.
Welcome back, everybody, to MMA Mondays with your favorite hosts of the Pride Rules MMA podcast. As always, we are sponsored by 80K Fightwear, Black Hole Jiu-Jitsu, Madama Jiu-Jitsu, and 2 Minute Warning Sports 360. I am your host, the Reverend Tommy D, joined with me by my great co-host, El Professor Omar Sangarima, and the happy casual, Chris Gucci, hopefully. I think we have him
coming.
Locked
We're
in.
Getting him.
Chris, are you here?
No, he's coming. I think he has to tell his PO that he's more than 200 yards away from a school. There was a little mix-up, and then we'll get him back on. I'm working on it.
Well, Omar, we had a pretty good night of fights. We did have a little bit of a scary situation involving Uriah Hall. I was kind of hoping we can delve into that early on to get the depressing part of the show out of the way. What do you think?
I think it's the first thing we need. Yeah, we need to talk about because it is a big issue.
Well, for those of you who know, of course you know, Uriah Hall was supposed to headline against Vitor Belfort in what we found out was going to be Vitor's last fight in mixed martial arts. Now, when it comes to mixed martial arts, we never say never, but this isn't about Vitor. The day of the weigh-ins, Uriah Hall had a seizure. Now, this is another problem that is happening in mixed martial arts due to a weight cut. Omar, what are you thinking, man? Okay, well, Omar's trying to get Chris, so I'm going to go on a little bit of a tangent here. The seizure that Uriah Hall had was more likely than not caused by water loading. Now, for you fans who don't understand what water loading is drinking a higher amount of water to trick your body into flushing more water when you cut back, which results in your muscles looking tighter and you dropping the water weight. The problem with water loading, sometimes, not all the time, drinking too much water can cause an imbalance to your electrolyte numbers. Now, the electrolytes are crucial, very crucial, because they keep your fluid levels balanced and they give your body the proper pH and the proper organ and muscle function. An imbalance to those electrolytes will sometimes cause seizures that are called acute symptomatic seizures. Now, you can't confuse the acute symptomatic seizures with epilepsy. There's no correlation between the two. But as you know, seizures can in fact cause brain damage. Now, this isn't an uncommon problem when it comes to water loading. Anybody who's familiar with the Ultimate Fighter Season 21, the Blackzilians versus American Top Team, one of the American Top Team fighters had a seizure for this exact problem. This is very scary. Omar, what do you think?
I think, first off, way to go on the research, man. Like, I want to take a second and give you props. We're all fun and games but we love the sport, and, we do our homework here at Pride Rules. It's such a bad situation. I think, it's weird. Like, you were saying that you don't know why you jumped on, like, the season 21, you were just kind of flipping through, and then that happened to be one of the main things that happened during that week. Joe Rogan, who we all love and emulate and whatnot, Joe's the man. he always is talking about this. He was talking about this on the Jimmy Smith episode, I think, like a week and a half ago, where just the water weight and the weight class situation, this is going to be how it's already happened. Let's say first off, weight cutting issues has already been how in some other organizations people have died. It's not, there have been, it's a fight sport, so, there's always risk of harm and injury and whatnot. But I'm telling you, like, weight cutting and the ridiculousness that goes into it is going to be, I think, predominantly what's going to cause more injury and more deaths. And if not outright, like, what I thankfully, our friend, friend of the show, Uriah Hall, avoided, thank God. He had the seizure, but, he avoided death. But I feel as though it even sets up for injury during the fight. A dehydrated brain is going to be even in worse shape to take the type of punishment that, we all cheered and clapped for and tune in for. It is a fight sport, so I'm not making judgments there, but I am making judgments on we got to get these guys safely to the fight. I love watching Sakuraba for a reason, because the dude didn't care about weight classes. The man didn't cut in his life, I don't think, past like the age of 26.
He didn't care about his own weight, that's for sure. He was definitely overweight.
Oh, see, here we go. Welcome back to the show. First off, Chris Cucci. Way to go, you bum. But please jump in, man. What's your take on this?
I mean, it's gonna take a fucking. It's sad to say this, but we've all said this before. It's gonna take something big happening before they make a change, and it's sad because it's going to take.
Well, there's
something
already been
tragic.
deaths. There's already been
but
deaths.
I'm talking about on the big stage with like a superstar athlete or something close, just something where with the UFC attached to it, and death is something that they haven't had to deal with.
Yeah,
what's the solution? I was reading a lot of things online this week about like what fans thought and this and that, and a lot of people were saying like maybe you do the weigh-ins 4 hours before the fight.
Yeesh.
No, they did. They used to do that with boxing back in the day, and that's why that Korean boxer died.
Right, Tommy? Right? Don't they do that? They do that.
And I think that's not going to fix anything because people are still going to push the limit in that aspect, and then they're going to be fighting more.
Some tournaments do it day of. Like a tournament like Naga does it the day before and the day of. If you get there the day before, which is what I did.
And then get fat. Yeah, I love it.
Yeah. But you see, the thing with Hall, with his camp, you got to remember his camp had a very big wrench thrown in it with the death of Robert Flawless. So that could have been an issue. I don't think the holidays were an issue, like he said, because he sounded fine on UFC Unfiltered, but that's just the thing with this problem, because that fighter on The Ultimate Fighter was fine. They weren't seeing any problems with him. The seizure just came from out of nowhere because his body had no electrolytes in it. Something has to change. Joe Rogan had some pretty good ideas. If you listen to the Golden Snitch on Joe Rogan's podcast.
That's who it was, too. Yep, you're right. It was that podcast.
They're trying to come up with some ways. They got to do it sooner rather than later. Because what happens when a fighter like Uriah Hall isn't in the passenger seat of a car, he's in the driver's seat, and somehow gets a seizure due to this issue?
You have a Randy Savage. Remember how Randy Savage died? He had the heart attack, and then he drove into a tree and died. Rest in peace, fucking Macho Man. That's how he died. He had a heart attack, and we could talk about maybe why he had heart attacks. What happened?
It's how my grandfather died. That's
See,
crazy.
yeah, no, this shit's fucking serious. Scary.
And I mean, not just for the driver, for let's just say it was Uriah Hall, not for him, but anybody else on the road.
Yeah.
It's not going to just be one
fatality.
Exactly. It could be a few.
No.
It could be a kid walking down the street going to school. These are the issues. That's what it's going to take right there. That's what it's going to take. Maybe not the fighter, but a death caused by a fighter having a seizure, passing out behind the wheel, and running into a bus full of nuns or something. That's what it's going to take. I don't get it. It's getting very scary.
Full of nuns.
He went straight. Like, I mean, I was with him till bus full of nuns.
The Reverend.
I love the
It's just an expression.
But
it's just an expression. But
I know.
Or here's another one. What if it
Anybody
happens?
knows some Motley Crue? Like, what the fuck, bro? Come on.
What if it happens in the cage? What if it happens then?
That's what's scary. You know?
Like mid-fight.
No, we've seen it be close though. Right? Like, I feel as though there's been some performances that we probably have seen where we're like, oh, he had a bad cut, this and that, and we just don't really know exactly how crazy close somebody was to dying. But they said hydration levels, and I don't know if it was with the Golden Snitch or if it was with Jimmy Smith, where it's like you throughout camp you can't be more than 10% away from the weight that you're contracted to fight at. And I know that would be a pain in the dick. Yeah, so I think that would be a pain in the dick to implement. But I think it's the safest way to go. You'd see a lot of restructuring and reshuffling of the weight divisions, I feel. But, I mean, I think you would then also see better performances. Nobody would be sucked out. We'd start seeing, you know, Robbie Lawler levels of ridiculousness probably out of everybody. That's just me, though. I think.
Yeah, I mean, like,
I think
RDA looks so much better at 170, even though he looks a little undersized. He might be on something.
He's a tank, though. He's a little tank.
Yeah.
Like, he just keeps going, and he just, I don't know. From as much as you can tell from that Frankenstein head, he looks happier to be there.
And you can even look at the Poirier situation. I feel like he has a better home at 55 than you get at 45. You know, it's Whitaker. Didn't Whitaker, you know, come up as a welterweight?
Yeah, and he looks much better. He looks like a world beater. You know,
like
at
being
185.
Slightly undersized, I don't know that necessarily hurts you all that much.
I agree.
Well,
man.
it's either they do what Nowitzki was talking about, or Dana White just adds more weight classes. Just do it every 10 pounds. He has no problem having double interim champs in one division.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's if it's about like illegitimizing the belts that they have and not wanting to make more champions, they already have fucking 2 champions per weight class. It's like, why wouldn't they?
Those belts are as illegitimate as some of the kids from NBA basketball players.
That's wow. Oh man. You really swerved me on that one. I thought you were going like this is illegitimate kids, like that brood of Gucci's, but like, well done, Tommy. Well done. I like that. That's tremendous.
If it's for the health and the safety of the fighter, and since shiny things, you know, draw helmet fucking wearers to watching more fucking programming.
We appreciate all the helmet wearers that listen to the show.
We do.
I want to hold on. All right?
We
Take
do.
every listener we can get.
We do. But if that's what's going to take, because what are they going to cut? 10 pounds? That's what they usually cut 2 days before the fight. Some of these guys.
It's crazy.
So I don't know. I hope everything with Uriah Hall goes well. Hopefully there's no significant damage to the brain. They didn't say that there is, but I'm sure they're going to put him through a battery of testing.
So now I don't mean to, talk about like what's next for Uriah Hall after but do you think that this forces him up to 205?
I don't know what they're going to do. Honestly, I don't know what they're going to do with him. I don't know how much weight he actually had to cut. You know what I mean?
He's a big middleweight for sure.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't. I mean, he's never missed weight before, right?
No.
He's never come out and said that he had any issues. Other than this, no.
I hope he's
okay.
Exactly.
Yeah.
He's an exciting fighter. When he's on point, he's pretty formidable. Ask Mousasi, ask a bunch of folks that he's just, deaded, just hit dead. So I'll never wish ill on the man, and I want him to come back better than ever and healthy, and make a run wherever he's at. If he goes up to 205, that division's wide open too, guys. We're talking about how better, a little more undersized folks are doing. Who knows? That could be the final piece of the puzzle. You can focus on skill development instead of sucking weight out. Next thing you know, he's, I think you give Manoa a bit of trouble. That's, him versus Ozdemir would be interesting, after DC gets done picking him apart. But,
we'll talk about that later. We'll talk about that fight later.
I'm trying to segue. I'm trying to plant seeds, guys. I'm trying to be a good co-host.
Well, we can't segue to that yet because, all right, let's, big ups, and prayers and everything to Uriah Hall. Hopefully everything comes out okay with that situation. So let's bounce on to the card last night. Chris, I know you didn't watch it because according to your brother, you were 3 sheets to the wind, humping the pillow by 8:30 at night. So,
whoa.
Yeah.
Omar,
whoa,
I'm sure you watched.
Humping the pillow. Come on, man.
I was watching it, but I didn't, watch it.
He doesn't remember.
He's the happy casual, man. He's never.
He was happy casual.
Never alone.
Exactly.
He's never alone, bro.
So speaking of weight cuts, let's jump onto the first fight of the main card with Michael Johnson against Darren Elkins. Now, I was talking to Carl last night during this fight, and he was telling me, he's like, man, Johnson looks awesome. He looks great. He's throwing like crazy. He looks fast. And I'm looking at the text right now. I said, I guarantee you he's going to punch himself out, and he's going to end up losing. What happened? He lost. Does he look good at 45? Yeah. For the first 5 minutes. Then after that, he dies out. Just like in the 155 division. What do you think, Omar?
I think he needs to get with like a new trainer. I don't know what camp he's at of currently. Is it like anybody like a Kursan, like anybody that's known to bring out the best cardio demons out of folks? I mean, he looked great physically. It looked like the cut. He's ready to go to war, and I think he puts away another 145er that's not as tough as Darren Elkins. And we're not having this conversation if it's not a dude who, went full helmet and got the damage tattooed on his chest. But, I don't know. And he even has the rosary around his neck. So, he's got Jesus on his side. But I've never been super sold on Michael Johnson at any weight class. But he did look good. Mm-hmm. However, you did call it, Tommy. I got to take a second to give you props. You called the shit out of this. You're like, well, that was a great first round. You were talking in the chat too, on the Pride Rules chat. I'm like, wow, this is a crazy first round. Imagine. I'm like, not what, like the commercial break later. I'm like, oh shit, Tommy was right. Glad I didn't bet against
If they have fights that are just one round, Michael Johnson would probably be champ.
Well,
he would probably be champ.
He should probably
because
do
he's great
commercials
in the first
for
round.
Cialis at that point too. But
he dropped Khabib in the first round.
True.
You know what I mean? And look at his fight with Justin Gaethje.
That was tremendous.
So he's
too.
great
in
the first round, and he just peters out. It's like he has adrenaline dump every time he fights.
I'd like to state for the record that Nate Diaz beat the shit out of him in the first round. Then Nate would be your first round champion.
Man, that must have been 8 years ago? Was the last time Nate Diaz fought in the UFC? I mean, I almost forgot he's employed by the UFC. Now you bring him up.
I don't think I could have bought beer last time I saw him fight. No, sorry. Anyway, sorry. Continue. It's been a while. I'm not that young. I should give you some context.
Mm-hmm.
So, where do you think Elkins goes from here? I mean, he's a tough dude, but do you see
tattoo
him
removal, please?
beating the top, any of the top echelon of the 145 division?
Oh, God, no.
No.
God.
I mean, I don't want to count him out and say definitely no, but I don't think he has what it takes to make it all the way to the top. There's 0% chance against those guys.
So he'll be like a Donald Cerrone, an exciting fighter.
How about a Cub Swanson, Darren Elkins?
You know, they haven't mentioned Swanson's name, whether they re-signed him or not. So he might not even be employed.
That could. Wow, I didn't think of that, but you're right. I have not heard. He did fight. He did take the chance and fight out his last part of his contract, right?
Well, maybe they give Elkins, a fight with Doo-Hoo Choi.
Superboy Choi.
Yeah. I mean,
Pride of
why
South
not?
Korea. Fuck it.
Both,
at this point,
Doo-Hoo Choi's, it's a big name for him. He's coming off a loss, so why not give him Doo-Hoo Choi?
What about Steven?
Yikes!
A garbage can? Give him a garbage can to fight?
Yo, come on, man. That's. I gotta say one thing. Tommy is consistent with the hate that he has.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like that would be a good fight.
It would.
Elkins, you mean? I thought you were saying who do you give Stevens? I didn't know that you meant him. And I was thinking, I wouldn't think that. I figured they'd give him Doo-Hoo Choi first, because I'm sure they're going to try and find somebody that's decently higher ranked.
Michael Johnson's a semi-decent win. I wouldn't want to fight somebody coming off a loss. Fuck that.
Yeah, but it's a fight in a new division, so it's I don't know. It's hard to judge. It's hard to judge. I would say Doo-Hoo Choi, because Stevens already proved he can't beat anybody in the top three. He can't beat Frankie. He knocked Frankie down. When we get to the Stevens fight, I want to talk about that because of everything that they were, patting him on the ass about. We'll get to that when we get to it. But let's jump on over to the Kamaru Usman Emil Mech fight. I thought Emil Mech did pretty good, but it's obvious that he needs to seriously work on his takedown defense. But aside from that, Usman is a problem. Chris, I know you've been saying it. Nobody wants to fight the guy because he's the Khabib of that division.
To stop that takedown. He's got a crazy explosive double, and it was boring, but unless you could stop it, it sucks to say it, but I'm on the fence about how I feel about that. I feel like it's hard to criticize the whole lay and pray thing, but it's just not exciting to watch, and I feel like that'll affect him as far as earning his title shot. There's guys that they'll give it to before him because of his style, and he's not necessarily, what the fuck was he saying, man? Like something about 30%.
Who's talking about giving him a title shot? Who?
No, nobody. I'm just saying, my point is, the way the division shakes out, there's a lot more exciting guys. He's ranked number 10. I feel like he's better than that. I feel like his style affects him in the rankings. There's a lot more guys. There's a few guys that I think that he would beat that are ranked higher than him that just have a little more excitement behind their name.
You see, you know what? I used to feel the same way about a guy like, it's just lay and pray. I don't want to say the guy's name or else I'll get buzzed. He's a Bellator heavyweight now.
Oh, that's so close. It's so close.
But,
Yikes.
yeah. Here's my new take on it, and I had to shut an idiot up on Twitter today to where he just stopped commenting because he was bitching about the lay and pray and, guys need to go out on their shield. Okay, people. This is what you need to know, and this is for you casuals that are out there that are listening. If your biggest strength is wrestling, jiu-jitsu, you do not deviate from that to have a stand-up fight. Because if you're fighting a striker and your striking is not as good as someone who's been striking their whole career, it's probably not going to end well for you. Why are you going to lose money, lose title chances, to excite morons who don't understand what the fight game is all about. You want to see stand-up? Watch Muay Thai. Watch Muay Thai. Watch boxing. Watch kickboxing. This is mixed martial arts. Mixed. Do you know what mixed means? It's not drinks. It's mixed martial arts. Style.
It's not green.
Style.
It's not vegetables. It's not a salad. It means a combination of fight styles.
You know, if there's two guys that are in there, one has to combat the other. If you can't stuff a takedown from a wrestler, yeah, you're going to have a long night. And the quote-unquote lay and pray, for one, he's catching his breath. And two, he's waiting for you to make a move. Go ahead. Get out of the position. You know why? I'm going to put you in another. Omar, you can relate to this. When they call a jiu-jitsu fighter lulling you to sleep, what's he doing?
He's baiting you. He's being quicksand. Like he's trying to set traps, and you're gonna fucking fall for him. He's waiting you out. He's getting you tired, and then he's gonna take whatever you give him when you try to make a dumb move and explode.
And that's what makes it exciting.
Exactly.
Now Mech was
Tactical.
getting back up. Mech was getting back up, and he was doing his best to fight it off, just like Edson Barbosa was doing against Khabib. But if you get put back down, that's the game. That's the game. Neil Mech needs to work on his takedown defense. That's it.
I'm not knocking it. It's just boring to watch. It's that simple. And it will affect you as far as marketing and how the UFC will push you. 100%.
Come back to us, Chris. Come back to us.
It's like he's going into the light. I want him not to die. Christopher, please.
Well, what's going to happen is if they keep not wanting to give him top guys because of his style, eventually they're going to have to. Eventually they're going to have to. Don't you think, Omar?
Like, it's the same sort of knock that you could say, like, hear me out for a second. People used to say that shit about our boy GSP, right? Oh, he just takes people down. Oh, he's tactical. Oh, he's this. You know? Well, stop it then. You know what I mean? That's just the long and short of it. If I kept, I've had situations where there's been guys at the gym where it's like, oh man, I keep getting caught in that fucking armbar by XYZ, right? If I went to my coach and I go, man, and they might give me some tips, they're not assholes, like, right? Yeah, figure it out. No, that's not what you get from people that love you. But eventually, what it would behoove me to do would be to actually figure it out. So that's the long and short of it. If there's money on the line, if there's your health on the line, if there's spots up the rankings and future opportunities on the line, you fight to what your strengths are. If I had been, I'm not saying, I try to stay away from this phrase for a bit, but if I had been Emil, I wouldn't have been doing anything except having a wrestling singlet on and wrestling shoes for the entirety of the camp, no? That's what Usman's going to do. Usman ain't going to bust out some crane kick shit. Like, he's going to be, the best you could have hoped for is that he would have wrestle-fucked you for 2 rounds, and then he would have been so tired that you would have been able to fuck him up maybe in the 3rd round, say, right? At best.
Yeah.
But, so then prepare for that. Make every takedown hard to get. There's different things you can do, even from on the bottom, to be annoying enough where, like, it's not as though the guy gets to rest and lay on top of you. It still sucks. The laws of jiu-jitsu by, Dirty Dozen member Chris Howder, Professor Chris Howder, is stay on top, number 1. Number 2, if you're on the bottom, sweep to get on top. And then rule number 3 is don't fall too much in love with the guard, because jiu-jitsu and grappling is still about getting on top. Why? Gravity. Why? Damage. So if you're Emil, figure, hey, I need to just work wrestling for 6 fucking weeks. That's it. Because unless you're going to lucky shot the man, what Usman's going to bring to the table. Right?
Yeah.
So I don't
and
understand.
anybody who's going to fight Mech now, is going to say, I'm going to put him on his back and I'm going to keep him there. And that's what they're going to work on.
You have to. There's no two ways about it. Any other esoteric, weird form of, I'm going to try to counteract, you're going to try to counteract Dick. That dude can, double leg a fucking cow, even at 170 pounds. He's powerful. He showed that he has resilience to last 3 rounds. He was, everybody lags in the 3rd round, unless you're used to fighting 5-round fights, I guess. But he was putting in the work. He didn't exactly completely fade away. There were some holes that I saw with some of the jiu-jitsu, but his wrestling is just so spot on. That's what you have to face. I'd rather go out and prepare, like say somebody in my camp was preparing for Usman and be like, listen, you got to wrestle the entirety of the camp. And if he, by some, evolution in Usman's game comes back and goes, oh man, I knocked this guy out, right? Okay, you got caught. He's been developing, but more than likely, what are you going to face, Tom? You're going to face a guy that's going to fucking double leg you into the 2nd row.
Yeah.
Prepare for that. That's it. That you've got 6 weeks to solve that puzzle, or be so conditioned that you're ready to just unleash ungodly amounts of punishment in the small openings that you can get. His best chance, one of his best chances, with that fucking guillotine up front.
Yep.
Yeah, that was some, but are you going to bank your entire future on catching one of those situations? I don't know. No, you can't.
It's few and far between.
It's
few and far
exactly.
between.
They call it a home run for a reason, Tommy.
But here's the numbers. Usman was 8 of 19 takedowns. He got 8 of 19 of them. That shows you how bad Mac's takedown defense is.
Yeah, it does. It shows that. It also shows how, I mean, you could look at it from kind of in 2 ways. I'm going to play devil's advocate real quick here. So I see 8 of 19, right? It shows, hey, the takedown defense was pretty abysmal. It was crazy. He's from Europe. You can always have that knock on European fighters unless they're from really, really Eastern Europe, in which case they're absolute savages. Anyway, so he's only hitting, though, 8 of 19 on a guy whose takedown defense, is like JV level. My probably takedown defense, right? So what does that tell you? Maybe the puzzle, maybe the code can be cracked if you're able to say, listen, I'm going to do nothing else except learn some anti-wrestling. Can you do that in 6 weeks? Probably not. But how the fuck else are you going to prepare for the guy? Avoid him? Hope somebody knocks him out, he loses his shine, and then he starts fighting, middling level fighters that maybe figure him out? I don't know. He looks pretty beastly still, though, even after all that.
Yeah, I just think that stigma of, it's just lay and pray. Get rid of that. Get rid of that.
Do something then.
It's not like
figure it out.
Running.
Yeah.
I have more respect for a guy who does lay and pray than a guy who just runs circles around the cage, a la Conor McGregor and the Nate Diaz 2 fight.
Oh, how did I know? I was gonna say maybe Caleb Starnes, but I knew you were gonna. Yeah. Fucking A, bro.
Was he not running?
I mean, you know what? It could be argued that Alistair should have run more.
And Alistair, too. Another one.
Yeah.
Another one.
Jesus.
Alistair, too. Another one. I have more respect for the guy who does lay and pray because you know what? Now it's a chess match. What are you going to do next? What are you going to do to combat this? That's the name of the game.
I agree with you in a sense, but you have to agree that it's not fun to watch. So that's the knock on it.
For me, it is because I enjoy the sport as a whole.
I don't want to hear that. I enjoy the sport as a whole too. I understand what's going on there, and I don't necessarily hate it, but I'd rather see an exciting fight. You would too, and so would everybody else, and that's the point. That's why the stigma. I shouldn't say that's the point because I agree with everything that you're saying. It's just that's why it's never going to go away. That there's just people that want to see you stand and bang, and people bleed. They don't want to see people get wrestled to the ground and held there.
And there is an outlet for that. There's an outlet for that. Glory Kickboxing, Lion Fight,
yep,
boxing, or bum fights on the internet, or watching high school kids throwing punches in a hallway.
Or go watch our boy Trevor Rajan, fucking gallivant his way through Thailand, beating the shit out of people. Follow his stories on Instagram. It's pretty lit. I'm telling you, as the kids say.
Yeah, I'm tired of giving these people breaks. That, I want to see stand and bang. No.
It's not giving anybody a break. It's just stating a mere fact that's why it'll never go anywhere. And people will get overlooked because of if their style is that. Usman will get overlooked if it's between him and somebody else as a stand-up fighter. The stand-up fighter is going to get the shot.
I don't think he's going to get overlooked. I think they're going to start feeding him more dangerous stand-up strikers. But Omar, what do they got? You got Darren Till?
I think they're probably because nobody else wants to face Till. It seems like so they'll probably be like, hey, listen, Darren, do us a favor, cave this guy's head in, so that we don't have a potential situation where we have a lay and pray, holding the belt. And who knows?
I don't know. I don't know that they want to potentially risk Till getting wrestled to the mat. and it's a dangerous fight.
That's not the name of the game, though. The best fighter gets the shots. Right now,
I understand that, but
Usman is one of the best fighters.
I feel like Till has a little more steam behind him than I feel like he deserves maybe somebody better than Usman. A name better than Usman, more specifically, not necessarily a better fighter. Because I agree with you, Usman could beat anybody. He's ranked 10th, but you look around.
It was just like back in the day when Jake LaMotta and Sugar Ray Robinson fought each other 6 times because nobody else wanted to fight them. People don't want to see that anymore. So eventually they're going to have to give Usman the bigger and better names. They're going to have to.
This is Trump's UFC, so the best fighters don't always get the best.
I agree, but I don't know that it could be Till. Like, I wouldn't fight Usman if I was Till right now.
Well, Wonder Boy won't fight Till because Till needs to work his way back up. Or Till needs to work his way up. So who else? You got to give Usman. You got to give him somebody. You got to give him a name now. I mean, let's be honest here. Emil Meck's claim to fame is beating Rousimar Palhares. That's his thing. Usman,
but he's doing the Lord's work, though. He did the Lord's work there. Like, he'll always have a soft spot in my heart. Not the same soft spot that, like, say, maybe Jency has for him. It's a different sort of...
Yeah, but when you talk about a bigger name, this fight was more for Meck than it was for Usman. Usman's already got a pretty big name in the UFC. Winner of the Ultimate Fighter 21. Nobody wants to fight him because they don't feel like getting wrestled. That's a dangerous fighter. He's the Ben Askren of the UFC.
I think Ben Askren would probably toss him around.
I think Ben Askren would eat his fucking lunch.
What I mean by that...
Oh, my God.
What I mean by that is nobody wants to fight him.
Yeah,
I get that.
Nobody wants to fight him.
Don't invoke the God's name.
Just like Ben Askren.
Just for an analogy.
But yeah, when we're talking about 8 for 19 takedowns, when you really think about that, I mean, that shows 2 things to me. It shows how dedicated he was to the takedown, and how little he wanted to stand with him.
He was fully committed.
Yeah, because he knew that Meck had no takedown defense.
But he actually defended 11 takedowns. Like, I would say that Meck did pretty fucking well. He defended
not
11
all those
takedowns.
Not all the takedowns he was trying for. He was going for 100%. The ones that he was going for 100% are the ones that he landed.
Well,
Trust me. Trust me.
That sounds like self-sabotage talk right there. I didn't get that takedown because I didn't try.
Like,
I don't know, bro.
Trust me.
I don't know. I was with you. I was.
So what do you think, Omar? Who do you think they give Usman next?
You know what? I would like to see him versus Till, man. I'm still stuck on that fight.
Thank you.
I think.
How about Damian Maia?
Oh no, don't do that to Maia. Stop.
Why not? That's perfect. Let's see Usman take him down. Let's see what his style is
because
against the guy.
If Maia gets that type of guillotine on you, do you think he doesn't
But
get the tap?
Point. That's my
Good
point.
call.
I don't know that you want to take Maia to his back. Good luck. Have fun there. Put him there. And then,
It's a house of horrors.
So
that guard is a house of
like,
freaking horrors.
How about that?
Okay.
That we'll see what Usman's got. If you want to, maybe now you could stand with Maia. We'll see. Maia
Does
might
Maia
be
even
taking
have any
him down.
fights left on his contract?
I hope not. I hope he's done.
Yeah, because they're not.
I need him to
talking
be done.
about him.
I don't want anybody to talk about him unless it's hey, we're gonna have a seminar where he comes in and teaches us jiu-jitsu.
So you don't think that would be
drop
an
me a
interesting
line,
matchup?
It'd be a good matchup. I agree, but
I think so.
every time it
so.
seems like every time I look away and look back, Damian Maia's face looks older. So I really don't. I don't want to see.
He's also looked really old since the first time I've ever seen him.
Right? Didn't he look like he's like a Benjamin Button but stuck in a bigger Brazilian man's body? It's weird. He should moisturize.
But to Chris's point before about boring fights,
oh boy,
they might not want to do that.
I thought you were gonna go to Van Zant and Clark for boring fights. I thought that was your pivot. I was getting ready for.
Oh, okay, so you want to jump onto that already? Hey, look, I give Paige Van Zant a ton of credit for fighting that fight with a broken fucking arm.
That was
I give her credit for that.
For sure.
Because she fought that. She went the distance with a broken arm off a spinning back fist, which is weird.
And she's so pretty.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah, okay. There it is.
Yeah. We never really got to see what she could do at this new weight division because of the broken arm. She broke that, in the first or second round?
I think it was the first.
I think it was in the first round she broke her arm.
Isn't there a reunion show for Dancing with the Stars that she get on? I feel like that might be a better career vehicle for her.
I do give her credit. She was trying to knock Clark out with flying knees and shit like that. I don't know what it's like to have to work with one arm. I'm sure it can't be easy because she couldn't really put anything behind it. And if you heard Tyron Woodley on Joe Rogan, there's not much you could do with one wing. So
yeah, I'm hurting right now. I hurt my shoulder yesterday playing fucking flag football.
Oh, how'd the tryout go?
Bro,
you and Reggie
sucks.
Bush,
My
right?
arm is, I obviously I did well, obviously, but the fucking shoulder today is not where it needs to be. It's just not good. I'm in a real tight situation here. So
now try and fight like that.
Absolutely.
One wing is impossible. Yeah, no way, bro. No way. I can't even fucking tie my shoes. I need help taking my shirt off and shit.
Well, you have many volunteers for that, though. The Happy Casual strikes again.
Ooh!
Oh, got him. You're welcome.
Yeah, Jessica Rose Clark wasn't as exciting as it should have been, but she was going through some personal shit too. You know what I mean? I don't think she wasn't fully there either.
Fighting somebody that shouldn't have been in there except for her looks, potentially, that would mess me up too. If I was just fighting, somebody.
Oh, stop it!
Give
no, what happened to Jessica Rose Clark? It shouldn't happen to anybody. Her house getting friggin' completely robbed and.
Oh, that was her. I saw that. Oh shit! Somebody killed her cat.
Yeah, killed her cat.
They
What the
punted her
fuck is
cat
that?
like scumbags. Scumbag
Yeah.
meth freaks that live out in Vegas. Exactly what it is. So she had that on her head. While
Are they
she
from
was in
shithole
St.
countries
Louis.
though? Tommy, are those the meth people from shithole countries or
It could be.
Yeah, could very well could be. Yeah, I guess
Very well could
Very
be.
well could be.
Or the meth
True.
is from a shithole country.
that's true.
That's
That is true. Methamphetamine.
So yeah, she had that on her head. You know, so maybe it would have been a lot more of an exciting fight if Paige didn't break her arm, but you know, only time's going to tell what she can do in this new division. I think she needs a better camp, but that's just me. She has skill. We've seen her skill. Haven't seen it in these past few fights. I don't know, Omar, what do you think? And I'm talking serious now. What do you think?
Well, I'm talking serious too. I've never been a fan of Van Zandt. Like, I'm talking spicy because I really, you know, I don't know. She just reminds me of people that I've had in my life that get by because of their looks, and I can't stand them. Like, I'm never gonna be able to divorce that from my analysis of her as a fighter. She's probably a great person. She probably visited 6 kids in jail. But not in jail, and fucking 6 kids in the hospital. Oh, Jesus Christ. But either way, like, I can't get behind it. I just can't, man. You know, give me a Calderwood, you know, who looks like she's, you know, blocked a buzzsaw with her face, but like still throws down.
One, I am one of the people who like Paige Van Zandt no matter what because of her look. All right, so we'll get that out of the way. Full disclosure, right? That said, I think that she should have been in Invicta a little bit before she, you know, she's very young still. Paige is like one of the youngest fighters in the UFC, I think. So she's like 23.
She just got her permit to drive, like, legally.
Yeah. So
yeah, she can drive without you in the car now. Just the other day. Made you sad.
Yeah, I don't know what you do with her, honestly. I don't know what you do with her. I don't know who you give her as another opponent. I really don't. I hope she turns it around.
Interesting.
Because
That weight class is so up in the air. I feel like I don't know who's in it, who's at strawweight still.
Let's see if she can stop Usman's takedowns. We've been fishing for an opponent for Usman. You got to think, like, if she's game enough to fight with a broken arm.
Didn't she fight Derek Lewis?
Oh God, I think she'd give the Black Beast all he could handle. Feed him ribs before the fight. Just fucking punch him in the gut.
I'm not going there tonight. I'm not going there tonight. I'm not going to do it.
Good man. You're a Christian. You're a changed man. I like it.
I'm not going to go there tonight.
Please don't. I know what I set you up for, and I applaud that you're not going there. As I said it, I was like, oh no.
I'm not going there. Good. All right, well, listen, let's round it out with the main event. At least it ended in exciting fashion. Jeremy Stephens knocked out Doohoo Choi in the second round. Now, here's my problem with Jeremy Stephens. All they kept saying, he's got the most knockdowns in UFC history. Well, let's see here. The most knockdowns in UFC history, yet he's never been in line for a title. He couldn't beat Frankie. He couldn't beat any of the other top guys. I mean, he beat Dos Anjos, but let's face it, Dos Anjos, was that after USADA? So is that something to really hang your hat on?
Wow.
I'm not really just that impressed with Jeremy Stephens. I'm really not. He's too hot and cold. And if you have the most knockdowns, but, you know, you haven't trailblazed your way to a title shot, I'm just not that impressed. What do you think?
I'm not. I don't like Jeremy Stephens. You know that. He's exciting, but he's one-hit wonder. Not one-hit wonder. He has one-punch power, but he's very hittable. I don't see him as... He's more of a gatekeeper than anything. He's never going to, contend. Frankie did what he,
I don't think he's going anywhere but here. He's going to beat the Doohoo Choi of the world. And I think And I think next year, Doo-Hoo Choi would be able to beat him. So I don't think that we're seeing, I hopefully he keeps getting it.
If he catches you and stuns you, he could finish you, but
yeah,
if he doesn't, you could.
If he doesn't, he has the fight IQ of a fucking brick wall.
He doesn't have technical striking, is what I'm trying to say.
I mean, he's. I would never, talk about his Tiki Torch haircut like at a bar with him, because he's got that lights out power in his hands, But in terms of thinking he's ever gonna rise above, stunning mediocrity, I think it's a bit of a stretch, And I liked him on Joe Rogan. Like I was not as much of a fan. I'm not saying I'm a fan now, but when he was on the podcast, he seemed likable enough, I guess. But I don't know. He's gonna. This is his high watermark now. Now, in a year, what is it gonna be? Is he gonna be on the FS1 prelims? Is he gonna be on the Fight Pass prelims of a card like this?
I feel like he's already on his way down. Like his high watermark is losing to Frankie.
Yeah, exactly. This is the highest thing he's gonna reach to date now. Later, it's gonna even sink further. I think in 6 months, Doo-Hoo Choi I think would be able to beat him in a rematch. But at that point, they're gonna have the North Korea card probably for the UFC, so he'll headline that thing. So,
yeah, I mean, Doo-Hoo Choi took the year off after his fight with Cub Swanson. And, Doo-Hoo Choi's young. He's real young. I mean, I guess it's a good win for Jeremy Stephens. Where does he go from here? Who do you give him next? Do you re-sign Cub Swanson to have him fight Jeremy Stephens?
Every weekend. They just have that as like either a prelim or a main card curtain jerker. Him and Cub. 13 times a year.
He's the American version of Artem.
Whoa,
that's what I think.
Yikes.
Let's do them slug it out.
Yeah, that's a good idea, Chris. That's a good idea. He talks himself up.
And the whole
like he said that he would knock Conor out. I think Conor would just beat the shit out of Jeremy Stephens. I would root for Conor in that fight. I would root for him in that fight. I'd go out and buy an Irish flag for that fight.
That's wow.
That's how much I don't like Jeremy Stephens.
That's polarizing. Jesus. That's incredible.
He's just a douchebag. He's a douchebag.
Tommy would root for Conor in the Artem fight.
That's it.
No, if Conor fought Stephens.
I'm saying Artem.
Conor fought Stephens.
Because of course, Conor and Stephens, that would be a joke.
Yeah, it's just stay in your lane, dude. Stay in your lane. You're not going to get big, huge names. You've faltered on the big stage at the MSG card. They're hanging their hat on the most knockdowns. Like I said, if you have the most knockdowns in UFC history and you've done nothing with it, not really something to pat yourself on the back about. At least I think. What do you think, Omar?
It's the only thing he's patting himself on the back because it's the only thing he has to pat himself on the back for. It's one of those stats that it's like when you're watching, a football game. It's like, when he comes back after, tonsillectomy, he's got the most points recorded for coming back after a tonsillectomy. Like, okay, good for you. Like, high five. You had a sore throat and you threw some touchdowns. Are you winning? Are you a champion? Are you going to be something I want to be interested in watching next week? No, to all those questions. Jeremy's going to be a mid-card guy on big cards, or he's going to save the UFC's bacon on cards like this. Because at the very least, another one thing that he doesn't have hanging around him, thank God this poor bastard doesn't lay and pray, right? Because if he did, he'd be out of a job with the type of up-and-down success he's had. I think the argument could be made. Right? He's here because he hits people. That's it. And he gets it. To Chris's point, that's probably part of his allure. Wouldn't you say? Like, oh, he promises violence. There you go. It's an American Vanderlei Silva. You know? And that's probably disrespectful to Vanderlei at this point in time.
That's very disrespectful because Vanderlei held belts and won
that's true.
Bushido trophies.
Yeah. You know. There was more cans.
He wasn't on steroids.
He was endorsed by Campbell's. So, you know.
Well, at least that fight rounded out. The card was good. I'll give it that. It was an exciting card. I enjoyed watching it. You know, it was good for a fight night. But guys, let's.
Yeah, it was a nice team to what we were about to talk about.
Let's pivot.
I can't hear you, Chris. You got to put the bong down.
It's like he's about to eat ass.
Bro, I can't. I'm sick, bro. I can't even fuck around like that. You probably hear me coughing.
Yeah, because you're, taking hits from the bong.
No, I'm not, man. I'm just sick. I'm having a rough.
I'm not gonna lie, Chris. That's kind of what I thought as well. But I wasn't obviously gonna be a jerk job and call you out for it. But
no, I'm not. I promise you, I'm not. I would admit it. I would be like, yeah, I am. I'm not. I'm just.
Yeah, you're not one. You're not one to mince, like to fucking pussyfoot around that. I agree.
Gentlemen, let's bounce to this fucking banger we have coming up Saturday night for UFC 220.
So excited for this card.
Yeah, I really am. Like, I'm looking at the main card, and I think it's going to be real exciting. So we'll jump on to the first fight. Gian Villante versus Amar Barroso. Now, Omar, you guys both know where I'm going with this one. I'm biased.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know much about the other guy, so I would go with Villante as well.
100%. Let's make it. I'm not going to be the one holdout here. Fuck all y'all. No way. No, nobody puts baby in a corner. We're going to go 3-0 for Villante. God bless him.
Yeah, I'm excited to see Gian get back in there. I mean, he's gotten screwed in some fights, but he's definitely an exciting guy to watch. I hope his conditioning's getting better because he does kind of peter out towards the end, but he's an awesome guy. The short amount of time I got to spend with him when he came for the Weidman seminar, he's a really cool dude. He's funny and extended teammate. So I guess the three of us are all going with Villante.
His opponent looks like the angriest mailman in Brazil from this UFC profile. Like, he just looks like he's so pissed off to be handing you your bills and your checks and your home goods catalogs. Like, I don't know. I don't know anything about him aside from that. Just looks like an angry working man. I hope Gian puts yeah.
He looks like the love child of Praying Mantis and Murillo Bustamante.
Holy
That's what he looks like.
shit. Oh, my God. Oh, Bustamante's out here getting it in, cross species. He probably fucked a donkey, and that's how we got Husamar Palhares. Jesus. That's probably what happened. Fucking nuts.
All right, so the three that we're going with Villante.
Fuck yeah, we are. Hey, come on the show after you win, John. Come on. That's what I want to say.
Yeah. Oh, he would be a good one to have on here.
Right? That's what I'm saying.
He would be good to have on here. I'll get started on that.
He's funny. I've heard. He's pretty fucking funny.
So the next fight I'm excited for. Shane Burgos versus Calvin Kattar. I'm going to go with Burgos on this one. I'm definitely going to go with Burgos on this one. I think, even though, Chris isn't a fan of it, I think he's going to find a way to get Kattar on his back, keep him there, and I think he beats him by TKO on the ground. What do you think, Omar?
I also think that this is going to be one of those, hey, man, if you hate it, stop it sort of fight. And Burgos is pretty relentless. He's not one to start going, hey, listen, I just, heard the most amazing French song, and I'm going to just speak all in French for the next 3 years. No, he's going to stick to what he knows, and what he knows is sweet, sweet takedowns and keeping you down. Punch that W for number 11, man. 11-0. If he keeps this up, it's gonna be good.
I agree. I'm in lockstep. I agree with Burgos, but I wanted to Tommy's fucking dumb point saying that I don't like Lay and Pray. It has nothing to do with whether I like it or not. I don't dislike
Omar,
it. I don't.
Did he not say he's found
I'm
it
just
boring?
saying it is boring, and that's why it's not that I don't like it. I'm just saying this is why there's the public perception exists that Lay and Pray, because Lay and Pray is boring. It will affect you in a negative way if that's your style.
Ladies,
As far as
it's not boring when Chris does it, though. When Chris Gucci does the Lay and Pray.
There's no Lay and Pray there, my friend.
No, it's exciting. He's always advancing position. Always relentless.
Yeah, well,
I understand
there would be
where
right
you're coming
now.
from, Tommy.
There would be right now since he's the only fucking adult to be sore from flag football.
Hey, stop
Who
it.
supposedly
all right?
keeps himself in shape.
No. Hey, flag
First of
football.
all right.
It's pretty high stakes. No, I'll take this one for you. All right, I have good friends to play. Come on, all right, Tommy. I couldn't do it. I blow out whatever's left on my right knee, and completely probably destroy my left. So the fact that he even went out for a tryout, I gotta give him props.
Yeah, but you
I
don't
hate
take
the fact that
pictures
he got
of yourself in the gym. You don't
because
say that
I'm
you could
I'm
tackle
ashamed of
Reggie
what it looks
Bush.
like. I'm ashamed of what it looks like. That's why I don't take selfies in the gym. I'm never in any photos for jiu-jitsu stuff because I'm like, you know what? Yeah, not yet. You know, I'm just pissed that he got me with the little fucking, you know, the asshole game there in the photo. That's my only beef with him. I was like, oh, he's looking good. Oh, this son of a bitch.
Yep, and Chris has gone under the water again.
I think somebody's trying to waterboard him. It sounds like Calvin Kattar's family has gotten a hold of Chris Gucci in his hideout. And they're like, listen, you picked against Kattar for the last time. Yeah.
I mean, it's not going to be that easy for Burgos because Kattar's got really good takedown defense. And
great hair. Don't sleep on his hair. Like that hair looks like it's got volume, like naturally, without product.
You know, as far as experience goes, Kattar's got him on experience, but I don't know. It's just something about I like Burgos. It's just something about him that I think he's going to be able to find a way to get Kattar on his back, and he's going to keep him there. You know, if he gets mounted, it's over.
Oh, well, Christ, yeah. I think he's better at putting people on his back than Kattar is at staying up. So I think that's going to be the end, long and short of it. Don't mean to be a dick, but like I'm agreeing with you. I think that's just how it's going to play out. You know, that one facet of the game is going to be the determining factor.
Yeah, so we'll see. I'm excited for that. That's
Me
one
too.
of those. I can agree kind of with Chris. I'm glad it's not a 5-rounder because I wouldn't want to see that for 5 rounds.
I agree. That'd be tough even for me. But yikes.
So yeah, we'll definitely see. Okay, here we go. DC defends his belt against Vulcan No Time Ozdemir, who has 3 fights in the UFC.
And one recently outside of it that nearly derailed his championship aspirations. Let's not forget that.
Yeah, so, I mean, we don't know enough about this guy to really give any kind of real analyst work. If you think about it.
How many Olympic wrestlers come from Switzerland, Tommy? Can I just ask you real quick?
I know Cesaro's from Switzerland. He wrestles, but that's pro wrestling.
That's pro. Yeah, I was going to say, wait a second. Fuck it. And they kind of look alike now that you mention it. Holy shit. That's fucking spooky. Yeah. Wow, that's weird. Good Lord. However, fuck you, Tommy. That threw me off. But, I mean, what other pedigree? Like, you know, the head of North Korea went and got schooled in Switzerland, but he didn't come back with a wrestling pedigree, right? He learned, you know, Western democracy and then took a shit on it. Vulcan's, what is he going to do? His name's not John Jones, so he's not beating Daniel Cormier. I think that's end of story. I hate to be an unsexy, you know, commentator, but who the fuck else is? If Rumble didn't have the one-punch knockout power, you know, Ozdemir's got dynamite in his hands, but Rumble could knock out a yak. Just square up with a fucking water buffalo and knock it out. So
Rumble kicked DC in the face. And still lost.
And like got off balance. Remember he like Rumble kicked Cormier and Rumble like lost his balance a little bit. And so did Cormier, but like that shouldn't happen. If you slam your shin in somebody else's face, they should go down. And you should be like, well, I just fucked your shit up. But Rumble's like, oh fuck, I just hit a boulder. Like, come on, man. What the fuck is Volkan Ozdemir gonna do?
What do you think, Chris?
I think Cormier is going to just fucking destroy him. I think he's going to ragdoll him. You give him the puncher's chance, but like Omar said, if Rumble couldn't do it, I don't see Ozdemir doing it. And I know that, you know, MMA math doesn't add up in that sense because he could hit him in the right spot. I just don't see it happening. DC's...
No, I just don't think he has the experience in the company.
Like, worst case scenario, he doesn't even have... He can just clinch him. You know, he doesn't have to even hit a double, just push him up against the cage. I don't see, you know, DC in that has almost the same kind of style as Khabib in that wrestling, where they're just so, you know, they just push against you. It's not necessarily like an explosive double. There's no room.
I feel like he has a great style that'll age well.
Yeah.
Like he just has that clinch, put you up against, and then just take you down.
The first time
Tom,
I seen DC fight, I thought the same. I just said he could do this to anybody. He was just holding guys up against the cage, using leverage.
Didn't he pump handle slam fucking Josh Barnett? And a pump handle slam is a goddamn pro wrestling move, for fuck's sake. I saw that. When I saw that, I'm like, this is absurd. All right?
And that was Josh Barnett on gear.
That's what I'm saying. It was fucking juice to the tits. All right? And he's probably listening to all sorts of, you know, Lamb of God on the way in, super fired up, right? And then this dude, and for those who don't know, you grab the guy's hand, you put it in between his legs, and you use that to flip him around on his head. If it sounds ridiculous and you couldn't follow, yeah, I still can't, and I've seen it. Shit's insane.
You're ball and chain.
It's a real fight. Right?
Didn't DC ragdoll Dan Henderson?
That's another, you know, that to me is, it's maybe equally as impressive because of the wrestling credentials of Dan Henderson, but the size disparity takes away a little bit of the shine there. You know, but Josh Barnett is such a big guy. He's no stranger to the grappling world. And, as you said so eloquently, Tommy, the dude was geared to the fucking nines. And he still got. Yo, Cormier's the truth. John Jones, I mean, you know, cocaine is, you know, to blame for that debacle. That's about it.
Yeah, and I'm not trying to take anything away from Ozdemir. I mean, he's got a great record.
I am.
But
fuck it. Yeah. I'm sorry.
I mean, his two biggest wins were Ovince St. Preux and Jimmy Manuwa.
He's the result of a weak-ass division that's lost its true king.
Yeah.
You know, and Cormier, God bless him, Cormier's trying to do everything he can. In my mind, he's a legitimate champion. I think he's great for the sport. You know, John Jones is whatever. Like, I love it because I feel as though DC could go up to heavyweight and do damage there. So could Rumble.
He might have
to. John. I think he needs to. After this, who the fuck else do you want to see him fight at 205? There's literally nobody. Alexander Gustafsson is off on a vision quest trying to heal up from injuries and find himself again. You know, I don't know how many times he'll be able to do that and come back and still be Alex Gustafsson. So have DC just, you know, move on up to heavyweight and solidify one of the best careers that the sport's ever seen. If he goes on a run and somehow snags a title at heavyweight, he's in the GOAT conversation, for fuck's sake. And that's even with John Jones's boogeyman hanging around him, at least in my mind.
I think heavyweight, you know, he might have to as well, but who knows if Kane is going to be around. I know he's back to training, and I don't think they're going to have those two in the same division, which is why I think DC is at light heavyweight now.
Kane's the Tin Man without any oil. All right, and I think they just ran out of oil in the entire state of California. Until I see Kane come back and beat Kane, I'm gonna say that, you know, it's the rest of his career is DOA, as far as I'm concerned. I don't see how he can physically come back and be that guy anymore. With the type we all, you know, our boy here, Chris, is hurting after one day with the flag football, and I'm not trying to rag him, but I'm thinking we're all no stranger to injuries, right? We've all heard through the grapevine and also the official ones that have been released. Cane's fucking held together by sweat, fucking Mexican Pocky and some tacos, bro. Like, there's nothing. Like, what's holding that man together? Like, Negro Modelo is that's what binding his joints together. Like, I don't think it's over, I feel, for him. And I hate that, but I don't know, man.
Yeah, and the funny thing with this fight is even if Ozdemir loses, he's still at the top of the division.
Yeah.
He's still at the top of the division. So there's really nothing for him to lose here other than the title fight. He's not going to lose his spot in the rankings. And we'll probably see this fight again 1 or 2 fights from now.
Oh, it's nauseating.
It is, but
I guess it depends what Cormier does to him. If he just smokes him, nobody wants to see that again.
no. But I mean, what are you going to do?
I don't know. I just got a weird feeling because none of us are giving this guy any chance whatsoever that we might end up eating our words.
Foolish. Like, all look
Well,
foolish.
because we don't know much about the guy.
Yeah. It's fair to say, though.
He had 3
he's got to
fights and
show
he shot up to number 2.
Point. Yeah. Through no fault of his own. I mean, like, Shogun's still in, like, the top 6, so.
Yeah, it's just, it's weird. And we talked about this, Omar, how many months ago, that there's a fear that Volkan Ozdemir will be fighting for the championship. Here it is. And this was months ago, before this was even being talked about. This was before John Jones DC2. We said this on the show.
The 205 division is the thinnest division outside of a female division in the UFC right now.
Agreed.
It's about as thin as 145 for the female division.
Yeah,
It's about as thin as that.
And that's crazy. It's terrible, And that's even with, say, Nowitzki is able to wave a magic wand that he swears up and down he doesn't have, which I believe him, but for the sake of argument, let's just pretend. And John Jones comes back in 3 months. What does that do to the
John Jones just makes the division look even worse, if that makes sense, because there's nobody fucking with him at 205.
It's less intrigue. There's less intrigue even with him coming back. So, I mean, what do you do, man? What cabinet can you raid? Bellator's like the cast-offs from the UFC.
At this point, John Jones has nothing left at 205 for him. He has to move up.
He needs to move up. That's it. Exactly. Do legitimate steroids with no cocaine, and come up the right way, John. All right, please.
Yeah.
If
they have him come back, he would have to go for heavyweight, just for a lack of depth in the division. Unless
for money purposes, John want to make the most money possible. Go fight these guys because there's no names, But who? I don't know, man, because it was real interesting to think John Jones could probably beat these heavyweights, but John Jones and Ngannou, oof, wow. John Jones, Stipe, you could almost see, John Jones maybe having a chance, but then I don't know why. I don't want to get into this, but I know we're about to, but John Jones doesn't have, I don't think, as much of a chance against these guys as we had once given him, because looking at the size of him, it's just.
Yeah, no, well, you look at the guys that John Jones has fought against, everybody's usually smaller than him. DC's smaller, height-wise, and they don't have the reach. Gustafsson was virtually identical.
Yes, I was hoping you would.
Shout out to Goldie.
Yeah.
And he gave him a problem. I think he won that fight. So does a lot of other people. I do as well.
100%.
Me too.
That.
I'm with it. Okay, good. I that's one of the things I don't know if we discussed it prior, but yeah.
I even watched it a few times because I wanted Jones to lose. So I, was like, all right. After seeing it the first time, I thought Gustafsson won. I had to watch it again a couple times, and I watched it without the commentating. I still think Gustafsson won that fight.
Yeah, I mean, what was it? A spinning back elbow. That's what won John Jones the fight.
Basically,
that's razor
you know what I mean?
thin. That's about as razor thin as you can get it.
So if John Jones, and I know, John Jones could be like, oh, I didn't party, all that other shit. You know what I mean? No, you met somebody that was your size that you didn't have the reach advantage on, and was able to put it on you. So him moving up to heavyweight would be interesting. Like Chris said, it would probably make him more money and would probably show how human he is.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll see. So we're all in lockstep.
I just don't think that he'd beat
going to take this.
certain few.
Yeah, honestly,
if he'd have success. He'd certainly have success
he might
at
have
heavyweight.
And I'm going to go on a line and say this about this fight. I hope we're wrong. Or at least Ozdemir puts it on DC enough to get the respect of the UFC fans.
And maybe gives us at least a possible second fight and something exciting to look forward to in that division.
Yeah. So I hope we're wrong. Best of luck to the guy. Congratulations getting 3 fights, and you're fighting the champ of your division. So let's hop on over to the most exciting heavyweight championship fight, I should say, in a very long time. Because this is a history fight here, guys. Stipe could break the heavyweight defense record with a win over Francis Ngannou. Or Francis Ngannou can knock off probably, I think, one of the best heavyweights we've seen in a long time and be the longest reigning champ in UFC history. Chris, I'm going to go to you first, and I got to say this about Chris. A year ago, when this show first started, when we talked about the heavyweight division, Francis Ngannou's name was one of the first ones that he brought up. So I'm going to go to you first on this, Chris.
I mean, it's another one of those things where I'm not giving Stipe much of a chance, and it's crazy that I'm saying that, because Stipe really might be one of the best heavyweights of all time, and Ngannou has never fought anybody like him. But just seeing the guy, like I said, man, he just looks like the champion of the world. It just looks like he's destined to be the world champ. I don't see him losing. I don't see somebody. All it takes is getting clipped, and it actually speaks to it. The heavyweight division he's going for his 3rd defense. That's crazy. That's fucking crazy. That it's never been defended 3 times straight.
That's the heavyweight division, man.
Yeah, it just shows you how hard. I've thought that Verdum was the best heavyweight of all time, and then the next fight, he got knocked out. I've thought. Just look at everybody, man. You look down the line. It's just the proof is in the pudding. No one's defended more than twice. So if Stipe does it and beats this guy, I agree. He is the best of all time at this point in the UFC.
What are you thinking, Omar?
But I don't think he's doing it.
Hold on. Were you done, Chris? I didn't want to.
No, I'm not.
Okay. Look at the people. Chris said it. Look at the people he's beaten on his way to and in order to defend the title. There's some people, like saying Ozdemir. We just got on Ozdemir for saying, well, who the fuck did he beat, right? To get to title contention. Stipe went through a murderer's row, beat them handily, and stands atop the precipice where he could either slip and get fucking cracked by a formidable opponent who the UFC almost seems like they want to have win.
Yeah.
That could be something we could get into, but Stipe,
I think Stipe's got to wrestle him.
He has to. If this is not a boring fight, quote unquote, right? Then it's Francis's fight. If this is crazy,
there's something so intriguing about this fight. It's just the size of them. Heavyweights, man, they get the blood flowing.
There's no way I could see this fight being boring.
Like,
Even if Stipe keeps him on his back. Even if he keeps him on his back, because he's going to have to hold him there. And Ngannou's got this crazy strength. You could see it. The guy worked in fucking salt mines.
So,
that was
Ngannou's. Look at the size of his hands and feet.
I swear to God.
Scary, dude. It's not normal. It's just simply not normal. There's no other way.
And there's a street fighter in his home country that apparently beat him, right? Isn't that the story? Like there's somebody walking around. It's like, yeah, I beat the shit out of that guy. Who the fuck beat him? Right. It's like, what the
Who
fuck?
is that guy?
I think he lost by decision. The one loss that he has, I think he lost by decision.
In a street fight?
Very early on in his career.
Who was it? Was it Blades that took him down?
But then he popped back up.
Yeah, exactly.
So he could be taken down, is what we're saying.
That's a JUCO national champion, though. No, isn't Blades?
Yeah. But I don't think that. I think that Stipe's hands, the threat of his boxing makes him gives him a better advantage as far as the takedown goes. You have to respect it.
That's a great point. That's a great point, Chris. That's spot on. You know, it's his wrestling makes his boxing better. His boxing makes his wrestling better.
Yeah.
That's what MMA is all about. Yeah, and it does. You know.
Yeah,
But doesn't Francis live at the UFC's institute though?
Yeah.
What's that about, guys?
Yeah.
What's going on there?
Dana White, like, does his meal prep.
That's what Nowitzki was saying.
Bald head with a chef
Nowitzki was like, Nowitzki was like, I can go there any day of the week, and Francis is just walking around the office. But if you were a UFC fighter, would you not move to Vegas and be in that facility? I would.
I don't know that I would if I was from the United States, but in the situation that he's in, that's ideal.
I want to move there, and I'm not in the UFC. I've got a couple injuries. Hey, aren't you nursing a bad shoulder? Like let's
come on.
Let's get the cryo going for both of us here.
I'll tell you what this also does is it makes it where, these fighters don't have much can't say much now. Go there. This is like open. The UFC just says like if you are in the UFC, you could just go there.
Yeah, but you could go there with your training camp. They have a sparring room that has cameras all over the place and from all angles. And you can, just like when you're watching football, when they're circling and the X and the O's and you have John Madden, boom, you can do that with your coaches there. You can observe your sparring. They can fix things that you need fixed. They got
therapy, physical therapy. They got masseuse. They got the ice bath.
Food.
All the crazy shit you need. Yeah. Take
Man,
advantage,
if I was
fighters.
in the UFC, I would live there. I would move to
too.
Vegas.
I do the same fucking thing.
Just be there every day.
And why wouldn't
in other words, this is what Dana White and Floyd are doing. They're gonna go. This might be Floyd's business venture with Dana White. That's my new theory.
Could very well be. Imagine opening one of these up, like, forget the UFC gyms, right, for a second. Imagine opening, like, these sorts of performance institutes, one on the East Coast somewhere, one maybe, like, in Florida. And then, like, couldn't you charge people?
Man, that would probably be like a $200.
That's what they're doing with the UFC gyms. Like, you see Frankie Edgar, the North Brunswick one that he's promoting. I mean, you might not see it on one, but...
Yeah, no, I do. No, I absolutely do. One of my friends is heavy into that business model, so I see the new ones that they share and shit. I'm like, yeah, it's pretty awesome.
You see, the tough thing with those UFC gyms, I was talking to a fighter out here last year because there's a couple of these UFC gyms there, and he's like, yeah, it's great. He goes, you could do jiu-jitsu there, but there's no live sparring there. You have to do like a private with a coach. So, like, these UFC gyms, I guess they're cool, but if you're like a fighter, I guess you can put some of your time in there and some of your time in another school.
Bro, it's more of like a crunch with MMA classes that teach you technique. But it's just like a regular gym.
Yeah.
It's not like an academy.
Yeah, but for Omar, to go on your point with, like, if they had a facility like that here, God, the membership would probably be what you pay for jiu-jitsu, for the equipment that they have.
But
I'd be okay with
maybe
that.
like maybe to the point that Omar's making, maybe just make things like that for UFC fighters regionally. You know, because like if you're not near Vegas, it's hard. You know.
Yeah, isn't the East Coast like a big hub for fighters here? Like
yeah,
imagine
so
putting one
one
like by you guys.
Put one in New York or something like that, and have a place for fighters to visit there on the East Coast. Put one in Florida where there's all those, you know, they got Top Team down there. They got a bunch of camps down there. You know, wherever put one in Chicago. Wherever you need to put one. Something for the fighters. We got your back.
I think
they
will eventually. I think they will eventually. I mean, this is brand new, and I guess we're going to see what it does when Francis gets in there. You know what I mean? Because basically he's like a homegrown.
Yeah,
as we've made the joke before, it's the Ivan Drago facility with Francis Ngannou.
You're not kidding. Like the more and more I hear about that whole situation, the more and more that really sounds like it.
Even if you know who Ngannou is and you've seen him fight, it doesn't matter. If you want to blow your fucking mind, just type in Francis Ngannou hitting pad, Francis Ngannou shadow boxing, and type those in on YouTube and just watch. It's insane. It's terrifying.
So
he hits like a Mack truck.
Yeah. So now comes the part where we have to pick. Omar, I'm going to go to you first on this one.
Stipe. Stipe by mixing it up and not being stupid. I think if he hadn't seen what our boy did to Overeem before in his just recent knockout, there might have been something in Stipe that said, "Hey, listen, I'm gonna try to beat him in his own game. Maybe surprise him. He'll never think that I'll stand with him." Stipe's not stupid. See what I did there? And he's gonna just put his forehead into my man's chest, make an ugly fight for say the first 2 or 3 rounds, and see how much that UFC Institute's given his cardio a boost, and test them. And then we'll see. I've seen more of Stipe in that than I have of Francis, and the martial artist in me wants to say that maybe more of the technique that I've seen will overcome that power, but could just be, my bias.
So you think it's going to go 5-round decision? Or you think Stipe catches?
Or a 4-round TKO. 4th or 5th round TKO or a 5th round decision win by Stipe Miocic.
Chris.
This is just a crazy fight to me. Like, there's never a point where it's not going to be dangerous for either guy, unless Stipe can manage to hold him on his back. But I feel like Stipe's going to set up like scrambles at best with his takedowns, and that's super dangerous when you got these two guys throwing punches and scrambles, because it takes a lot of the technique out of it. It's just who's going to land first. Heavyweight division is crazy. I just think that Ngannou has just more raw power, and he's too much. But,
so you're going with Ngannou?
I think Ngannou's going to knock him out. I don't think this fight could possibly go far, like Omar's saying. I just don't see it happening with the power involved. It's not even going to take much. All you got to do is clip somebody in this fight. And I hope Ngannou does it. I shouldn't even say I hope. I hope I'm right, but I don't really care. I like Stipe a lot. I would like to see him win too, but
yeah, that's what it is. Like, the thing with this, I'm on the fence because they both could do it. There's really no edge. There's really no edge.
It's just like we have to wait and see. That's it. We have no idea.
Yep. I'm kind of leaning towards what Omar was saying. I think Stipe's definitely going to find a way to get inside, take some of that power away from him, get Francis against the cage, find a way to put him down. Even if he can't keep him there, just keep him going with the up down.
I think that's the scary part, though. He takes him down and he forces a scramble to get back to his feet. The scramble is in the heavyweight division is the craziest thing, because you throw one wild punch and it lands in a crazy scramble, getting back to your feet, and the fight's over. feel like Stipe's won a few of his fights in scrambles, where like even if Verdum like rushed him and he just barely clipped him, but it was Verdum rushed him, put him to sleep.
Yeah, I'm excited for this fight. I love Stipe, but I like Ngannou too. So I'm not going to be disappointed if Stipe doesn't win. But I'm going to have to go with Stipe. I think Stipe takes him 5 rounds, and I think he ends up getting a 5-round decision.
Wow, I can't believe both of you guys think the fight's going to go that far.
It's Stipe's experience. You know, it's hard for me to be like excited. I mean, it was awesome that Ngannou knocked out Overeem, but Overeem's been knocked out 14 times in MMA. A feather will knock him out in stiff wind.
Yeah,
you know
but
what I'm saying?
that uppercut's knocking out anybody.
Jesus Christ. The feather and stiff wind, you fucking animal. That's tough.
Now, if Ngannou knocked out Verdum, I would be, over the moon impressed because that's a great knockout. It's not like Verdum's got knocked out left and right. But Ngannou's got a lot riding behind him right now. He's a little high on himself. He does say some things that I really don't agree with, but I get it. He's selling himself. And both of these guys got great stories. Stipe, the all-American hero, firefighter by day, UFC fighter by night. That just screams all-American. And Ngannou is just the success story. 5 years ago, he's homeless. The guy was working in salt mines, walks into a gym wanting to box. They end up talking him into MMA. And in just a couple short years, he's fighting for the UFC heavyweight championship. So I'm excited. I'm definitely excited. Well, guys, listen. We're going to wrap this up here. I'm excited to talk to you guys again on Monday about these fights. We don't have a guest lined up. Might not even have one, just so we can discuss this card, because I'm definitely excited for it. So, great show, guys. Shout-outs to our sponsors, 80K Fightwear, Black Hole Jiu-Jitsu, Madama Jiu-Jitsu, 2-Minute Warning Sports 360. I'm the Reverend Tommy D. For El Professor, Omar Sangarima, and the Happy Casual, Chris Gucci, we are Pride Rules Podcast. Good night.
Good night.